What's up, guys? We just got a first look at the brand new PlayStation 5 controller, and it's actually a pretty significant change compared to previous generations. So I'm excited about this. I wanted to run through it. Sony just posted a blog where they gave us a few pictures as well as some of the new features. So we're going to quickly run through this. It'll probably be a pretty short video, but obviously very exciting. First up, we've got a close-up image right here, and you guys can see it's still very similar. We still have most of the same buttons here. We still have the touchpad and everything like that, but we've got a really interesting two-tone color going on with the white and the black, and I'm assuming you're going to be able to get custom ones with other different kinds of colors, which is going to be kind of cool. Also, the LED bar around the touchpad instead of on the top of the controller, so you can see, you know, I've got the blue controller, I've got the red controller, or whatever else. And of course, in games, if you guys don't know, like sometimes in GTA, when you've got cops after you, it'll flash blue and red. I'm sure it's going to give you kind of another piece of feedback in your games, which is kind of cool. Speaking of feedback, that's one of the major new additions. We've got haptic feedback now, so it says it adds a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud. We also incorporated adaptive triggers into the L2 and R2 buttons of DualSense, so you can truly feel the tension of your actions, like when you're drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. So this is just kind of another sense that they're giving us. Obviously, a lot of gaming is your sight and your hearing, but this is going to give us a little bit more feedback, a little bit more creativity from a development perspective to kind of immerse yourself in the game. You know, when you're driving through mud and it's really slow and sluggish and it's hard to turn the wheel and stuff like that, like you're gonna kind of physically get that feedback. You've also got things like the bow and arrow example there, or even like maybe a weapon in a shooting game. Like obviously there's gonna be a bit more tension when you're pulling that trigger to fire, but then once you fire, it's gonna kind of spring back out. So you're gonna have more tension in and less tension out. It's not gonna be the biggest difference in the world, but it is potentially going to add a little bit more realism to it, which is pretty cool. From a design perspective, it says that they changed the angle of the hand triggers and also made some subtle updates on the grip. We also took thoughtful consideration into ways to maintain a strong battery for the DualSense's rechargeable battery and to lessen the weight of the controller as much as possible as new features were added. So, you know, if you look at the photos, this thing looks a little bit bulkier. Like when you look at a normal PlayStation 4 controller here, look at this compared to an Xbox One controller. I would say that this new DualSense controller looks a little bit closer to the Xbox One. It's a little bigger, it's got a little bit more surface area to it, and to be honest, even though I really like the DualShock 4 controller, and it's honestly probably my preferred controller because I play with it more, I do feel like the Xbox controller fits in the hand better, especially as somebody who has big hands. So, I don't know, I feel like it might potentially be a little bit more comfortable because we've got more surface area and we're going to be able to kind of wrap our hands around it better. DualSense also adds a built-in microphone array, which will enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset, ideal for jumping into quick conversation. But of course, if you're planning to chat for a longer period, it's good to have a headset handy. So this is the most casual thing they could have added to this controller. I mean, part of me feels like this is going to be completely pointless. Like, if I'm sitting here trying to talk to you while I'm gaming, you're just going to hear my buttons being pressed and my triggers hitting the side of it and stuff like that. But at the same time, I do really miss back in the day when the 360 shipped with a headset. Because when you were playing like COD 4 or Modern Warfare 2 back in the day, the lobbies had people talking in them. I feel like we don't get people talking in lobbies anymore, and obviously like with death chats and rages and stuff like that, it's really fun to be able to listen to people. So I think if they do have this microphone thing handy, we might get a little bit more of people using it. We'll see what happens. I'm also worried we may have been trained not to use it anymore. Lobbies are essentially dead when it comes to using mics. So we'll see what happens, but I feel like that could be pretty cool. Last but not least, we've got a quote from the president and CEO of Sony Entertainment. So it says, DualSense marks a radical departure from our previous controller offerings and captures just how strongly we feel about making a generational leap with the PS5. The new controller, along with many of the innovative features of the PS5, will be transformative for games, continuing our mission at PlayStation to push the boundaries of play now and in the future. To the PlayStation community, I truly want to thank you for sharing this exciting journey with us as we head towards the launch in holiday 2020. We look forward to sharing more info, including the console design, in the coming months. So, good stuff there. Kind of a generic sign off, but honestly, I feel like it looks pretty good. I'm a big fan of it. One thing I saw that looks really interesting is look how big the L1 and R1 buttons are. Those things are massive. I feel like they're pretty much double the size of what we had in the past, so that's an interesting design. I feel like you don't use those as much as you use the triggers in most games, so it'll be interesting to have that much more surface area up there, and I hope it doesn't get in the way. I'm sure we'll get used to it. But all in all, I love the design. I think it's very sleek. I think it's very futuristic. And obviously, they oftentimes will model the consoles or the controllers after the consoles. They want it to look nice. They want a nice, complete product there. So if this is a sign of what the PS5 is going to look like, two-tone, very futuristic with cool LED strips and stuff, I mean, I feel like that could be pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. At the end of the day, I mean, it's going to be an exciting time. I think the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are going to be amazing, and I'm looking forward to checking them out at the end of the year. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to catch you all later. Peace out.